Welcome or welcome back at C Square. In this lesson, we'll talk about how you multiply polynomial. And you have these three ways: distributive property, foils, or generic rectangle. These three methods I use to multiply polynomials. Now I'm going to start with what I call case one: multiply a polynomial by a monomial. Like in this example, you have a monomial x and a polynomial or a binomial x plus 2. How you multiply, and I'm going to show you how to use distributive property here. And we have here x times x. So let me write exactly like this, because that's distributive property says. And then x times 2, don't forget the plus. So then we're going to do one more thing. X times x is x squared, and x times 2 is 2x. That is the answer for this problem, and I use the distributive property. Let's take a look to B. We're going to use the same thing, distributive property. I'm going to go slow here, and I'm going to have 2x times 3x. Okay, and then 2x times 4, but don't forget the minus. So then we have here 2x times 3x, or 2 times 3, that is 6. X times x is x squared, minus, and here we have 2 times 4, that will be 8x, and this is the final answer for B. On C, I can do the same thing, use the distributive property, but I want you to see the generic rectangle. It does work fine here. If you like it, you can use it. And you see I have a rectangle of 3 boxes. Why 3 boxes? Because I have 4x squared minus x plus 7, and here I have negative 2x squared. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill in the rectangle. In this first box, I'm going to have the product of negative 2x squared and 4x squared. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, and x squared times x squared is x to the 4 power. Let's move to the second box right here. Here we're going to have the result of multiplying negative 2x squared and minus x. Negative and negative becomes positive, and then we have just the 2, and x squared times x is x cubed. And in the last box we're going to have the result of multiplying negative 2x squared and positive 7. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 2 times 7 is negative 14, and just x squared. So what you see in the box now is the answer, negative 8x to the 4 power plus 2x cubed minus 14x squared. That's it. Of course, you can use the distributive property like we did in the previous example and get the same answer. Be sure when you have the two negative, you get a positive. Let's see the second part of this case one. Sometimes you will need to use this multiplication for simplifying large expression. So in this case we have this, we need to simplify this large expression, so we're going to use the distributive property twice. So we have here 3x times 2x squared. Let me copy like that. Some of you can do the math right away, but that will be great. Minus 3x times 5. And now be careful here, we have a minus 3 times 4x squared. Okay, minus 3 times 2x. And now here you be careful, it's, if you say this is a minus, it's good, minus 3 times, and this will be minus 8. So be careful how you handle signs, multiple signs, especially the negative one. So let's see what we have here. We have 3 times 2, that is 6, right? 3 times 2, that is 6. X times x squared is x cubed minus 3 times 5, it's 15, just 15x. We finish with the second multiplication. Let's take a look here. Minus 3 times 4, it's 12. 12x squared. Let's move to the next term. 3 times 2, and don't forget the minus, minus 6x. And then here, be careful, you have this negative or minus, and this negative, that becomes positive. So that will be plus 3 times 8 is 24. So one more time, pay attention to the signs. And the last thing I'm going to do here is combine like terms if we have any and arrange these polynomials. 6x cubed is the largest term. The largest degree of this polynomial is 3. And then let's take a look. Now nothing else, by the way, just this 6x cubed. And then we have here minus 12x squared. Nothing else. But when we move to the x term, we have negative 15 minus 6. Negative 15x minus 6x. So you can do that math here. If you need negative 15 minus 6, that will be negative 21. Don't forget the x. Minus 21x plus 24. And this is the answer for this example. Now I'm going to move to case 2 of multiplying polynomial, and here we see two binomial. We see 2x plus 5 and x plus 3. Those are binomial. And we have two choices here. I mean, we have all three choices. We can use the distributive property, we can use FOIL, and we can use the generic rectangle. I usually use FOIL or the generic rectangle. So let's see how that works. I'm going to show you what FOIL means now. You see, we have 2x times x. And you notice these two terms are the first terms in each binomial. So this means first. And then we have FOIL, right? Outer. And those outer terms are these two, 2x and 3. And then we have these two terms, which are inside inner terms. So let me put, by the way, O here for outer, and we have there plus 5 times x. That is the inner term. So this is the I from FOIL, and we have the last thing L, which means the last two terms, 5 times 3. So that's the meaning of FOIL. First, outer, inner, last. Now we have, to simplify this expression, we have 2x times x, 2x squared, 2x times 3, that is 6x, 5 times x, that is 5x, and 5 times 3 is 15. So we have one more step, which is combining like terms if we have, and we have these two terms. So we have 2x squared plus 11x plus 15. This is the answer for A. And you notice I use what is called FOIL. First, outer, inner, last. And we have a second example here. I'm not going to use FOIL here, but you can use FOIL. Just be careful with the negative. I'm going to use the generic rectangle. Okay, so since we have two binomials, this generic rectangle should be more like a square, if you can. You see I have here two columns and two rows. Why? Because we have x minus 3 here and 4x plus 2 here. So you notice two binomials, so we have a rectangle 2 by 2 or a square, if you want to call it like that. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fill in the box. So we have here in the first box, top left, we have to do 4x times x. 4x times x, that is 4x squared. What about the second box, this one here? We're going to have 4x times negative 3. Okay, and that will be negative 12x. What about the first box in the second row, this one here? We're going to have 2 times x. or positive 2, if you want to say like that. That will be 2x. And what about the last box here? It's 2 times negative 3, and that will be negative 6. Now we have to do one more thing, is to combine like terms in this rectangle if we have. And most of the time you will have like terms, like in this case we have 2x and negative 2x, negative 12x. So we have 2x minus 12x, and that will be negative 10x. So you notice I did the math here on the side. Now let's put the answer. We have that 4x squared minus 10x, right? When we combine them, because they were like minus 6. You can use FOIL and check if you get the same answer. That will be a good way to see how this generic rectangle or FOIL works. I like both methods, but I like a lot this generic rectangle when I have a large polynomial. We have another third problem here. So let's see this one, where we have the minus, and I'm going to show you here one more time FOIL when minus is involved. So we have 2x times 3x first. Then we have 2x and 4. And now be careful how you judge it. If you put a minus, that's okay, but then you just put 2x and 4. If you put a plus, then be careful, this will be a negative 4. So that's the reason I'm saying you need to be careful with this FOIL, how you handle the sign. Okay, so then we have 3 times 3x. And again, that negative or minus 3, that will be right there, a minus in front. And that is the inner. And we have the last, right? And here you see 3 times 4, the numbers. And we have both negative or both subtraction. That means a plus here. So careful how you handle the signs. First, outer, inner, last. That's the reason sometimes I like more the generic rectangle. It helps me to eliminate the problem of the signs. So now we have, let's see what we have here. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Minus 2 times 4 is 8x. Then let's move to the inner term. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 9x. And the last term, 3 times 4 is 12. One more step here. By now I think you know we need to combine like terms, and we do have two like terms. The minus 8x minus 9x. That will be minus 17x squared, just x, I'm sorry, plus 12. And that's it. Check this problem using the generic rectangle, see if you get the same answer. That will be a good way to practice both methods. So I said here the distributive property or generic rectangle can be used to multiply any two polynomials. Like in this case 3, I don't use the distributive property, I use just the generic rectangle. And by now I think you know what I'm going to draw here. I'm going to draw a rectangle. And since we have a binomial, I'm going to have 2 rows. And since I have a trinomial, I'm going to have 3 columns. Can it be the other way? 3 rows and 2 columns? Yes, it can be, no problem. 3x plus 2 here, and 4x squared minus 5x plus 7. And we're going to fill every single spot in this rectangle. So we're going to start with the first one. 3x times 4x squared, this first box. 3x times 4x squared, that will be 12x cubed. That goes here. The second box, this one, we are going to have 3x times negative 5x. And that will be negative 15x squared. And the third box right here, we have 3x times 7. That will be 21x. It's a positive. And let's move to the second row, and I have 2 times 4x squared. That will be 8x squared. Again, positive here. If you want to put a plus, that's okay. Let's move to the next box. That will be 2 times negative 5x. That will be negative 10x. And we have a last box to fill. This one we have 2 times 7. That will be 14. If you want it, I'm gonna write that here just to be consistent. So now let's see what we have. We have 12x cubed. You see the first one in the box, in the rectangle. But then we have these two guys that are alike, and we have 8x squared minus 15x squared, or 8 minus 15, that will be negative 7, negative 7x squared. Then we have these two that are alike, so we have negative 10 plus 21, that is going to be plus 11, plus 11x. And then we have plus 14. This is the answer for this multiplication. And like I said, I love the generic rectangle. Look at here, we have a 3 by 3, a trinomial times a trinomial. So let's see how that looks like. Okay, it's going to be kind of a larger square with 3 columns and 3 rows. And I'm going to put here 3x squared minus 2x plus 4. And here I'm going to have 2x squared minus 3x minus 1. So we're going to fill these 9 boxes. And we have here 2x squared times 3x squared, that is 6x to the 4th power. Second box here, we have 2x squared times negative 2x, that is going to be negative 4x cubed. 2x squared times 4, that will be 8x squared. And let's move to the second row, where we start with negative 3x times positive 3x squared, that is negative 9x cubed. Negative 3x times negative 2x, the second box in the second row, that will be 6x squared. And the last box in the second row will be negative 3x times 4, that will be negative 12x. Let's move to the last row, and we have here negative 1 times 3x squared, negative 3x squared. Negative 1 times negative 2x, that will be positive 2x. And negative 1 times 4, it's positive 4. Negative 4, I'm sorry. So if you need to do all this math like I did it on part A, do it. It might help. Now let's see, do we have like terms? We have just this 6x to the 4th power, but then we have these two like terms. And we have here negative 9 minus 4, that will be negative 13x cubed. What about x squared? We have a bunch of them. We have these 3. And we have negative 3 plus 6, that will be positive 3 plus 8 is 11. Then we have these two terms that are alike, the x term. We have 2x minus 12x minus 10x. And then minus 4, the last term. This is the answer for part B. And you notice, I think the generic rectangle is much better than any other method here. Less space and organize your math. On the last part of the lesson, I'm going to talk about specific patterns, and one of them is square of a sum or difference. And I'm going to start with the square of a sum. This is the pattern, the formula. If you remember, it's very useful. If you do not remember, you can use FOIL or the generic rectangle or distributive property. But let's see how this one works. We have x plus 2 squared. This is a plus b, and you notice the first thing I have here is a squared. So I'm gonna have a squared here, but a is nothing else than x, plus, and you notice the next thing is 2ab. I have to have that too, because that's the formula, times a, which is x, and b, which is 2. I put the parentheses just for you to see the a's and b's. And then the last term in this pattern is b squared. This b squared here, and the b is 2. So now I'm going to do a simplification here. The quantity x squared is x squared, plus 2 times 2 is 4x, and plus 4. That is the answer for this product. After a while, if you keep practicing, you do not need that second step, you just get the answer. Let's take a look to B, which is very similar, and I'll suggest you at the beginning to do exactly what I did. Mark A and B's and go slow. We have a squared, right, which is going to be 2x squared plus 2ab plus 2 times 2x times 5 plus b squared plus 5 squared. So do this step at the beginning until you get the mechanic of how to handle this pattern. And now we have here 4x squared, right? 2x squared, the quantity 2x squared, it means 2x times 2x, plus, now let's see here, 2 times 2 is 4, times 5 it's 20x, plus 5 squared it's 25. And one more time, you don't like this method, use FOIL or use the generic rectangle. You're gonna get the same answer. However, sometimes this method works faster, in my opinion. Now we're gonna see the formula of square of a difference, which is right here, very similar. What is the difference? And we have this minus instead of plus 2ab. So let's see to first example. This is a, this is b, so let's see what we get. And you can stop the clip and try it and see what you get. We have a squared minus, now be careful, this is minus 2ab plus b squared. So use this step if needed. And now we have here x squared minus 2 times 2, right? This 2, that is 4x plus 2 squared is 4. This is the answer for this A. And let's take a look to B. A minus b, the square, that will be a squared, quantity 2x squared, minus 2, always that 2, don't forget, ab, with a it's 2x, b is 5, plus b squared. So let's see what we get. The quantity 2x squared, it's 2x times 2x, that is 4x squared, minus, again, 2 times 2 is 4, times 5, 20x, plus 25. So very important, that minus 2ab, don't forget about that. And the last case in this multiplication of polynomial is the one that is called product of a sum and a difference. Take a look here. You notice we have this a plus b, a minus b, and that will be a squared minus b squared. A very cool pattern is very useful if you remember. If you do not remember, one more time, you can use FOIL, generic rectangle, distributive property. So let's take a look to this one. And you notice here we have a minus b, a plus b. Let me even put a parenthesis, which is nothing else than a squared. A it's x, right? A squared minus b squared. B is 2. So the final answer will be x squared minus 4. You can check this answer if you want using the box, the generic rectangle, the box, or foil. And the last example in this lesson for today is this one, where we have again a product of a sum and a difference. So a plus b, and you notice the order is not important. It can be either way, a plus b, a minus b, or the other way, a minus b, a plus b. The answer is the same. So we're gonna have a squared, in this case 2x squared, minus b squared minus 5 squared. So we have here 2x squared, the quantity 2x squared, that means 2x times 2x, that will be 4x squared minus 5 squared, it's 25. And that's it. If you enjoy this lesson, don't forget to click the like button. Come back on C Square for more help. Thank you.